Every city has its big streets, its major thoroughfares like Broadway, Grand, Olive, Gravois, Natural Bridge. But as Ruth Ezell shows us tonight, sometimes an indication of what's really happening in a city is what's happening on the streets in between.
There's no goofing off at this martial arts studio on the 3000 block of Locust Street. It's one of the newest enterprises in a blossoming St. Louis area just east of Grand Center called Midtown Alley.
Yoga block high. Okay.
That's Patrick Thimangu leading this class. He's the owner of Arch Taekwondo. At a time when some small businesses have been forced to close in the wake of the financial crisis, Thimangu, a native of Kenya who's also employed as a business journalist, saw an opportunity to fulfill a dream.
When I first came to St. Louis, I started looking for Taekwondo schools, somewhere close to home, close to work. The closest I could find a good school was Baldwin, which is 27 miles away from home. So from day one, when I came to St. Louis, I knew there's a business opportunity, at least in this part of town.
But in 2007, when Thimangu first started putting a business plan together, he found real estate prices prohibitively high. Then in late 2008, as foreclosures went up and the economy down, Thimangu took notice of what was happening on Locust.
I was just driving around and I see there's still construction going on. This building wasn't finished. People in hard hats are working. And I'm curious, I'm like, who's this still building when everything else is stopped?
That would be a company called Renaissance Development Associates, Thimangu's landlord and neighbor in the same building. Renaissance owner Jason Johnson saw a lot of promise in Midtown Alley when he discovered it several years ago.
Because of its adjacencies to things like St. Louis University and Harris Stowe, Sigma Chemical, all these fantastic institutions that are down here, but kind of, turning their back to this little Midtown neighborhood that was just wanting so badly to be something, but just really hadn't taken off yet.
I thought this was just a great business opportunity to come in when the market is down, and this is space that I have an opportunity to buy, should I want to, in 5 years, and I'll be able to buy it at a price that I can negotiate today. So that was my big attraction.
The 3000 block of Locust Street is considered the heart of Midtown Alley, but it extends east to Leffingwell Avenue, west to Teresa Avenue, and includes the sports and entertainment venue Chaifetz Arena. A parallel strip of Olive Street is also part of the neighborhood. From the 1920s through World War II, this area was known by another name, Auto Row. In its heyday, nearly 100 makes of cars were manufactured in St. Louis. And if you were in the market to buy one, Locust Street was where you went. It was lined with showrooms like this one, which displayed the latest vehicles by Nash. Haynes automobiles adorned this showroom on the 2900 block of Locust. There were no car lots back then. Inventories were often stored on the roofs of these buildings, hoisted on custom-made elevators. Over time, many of the manufacturers faded away. The dealerships moved off of Locust, the buildings were converted to other uses, and some eventually abandoned. The Fountain on Locust, an ice cream parlor and restaurant, used to be a dealership for Stutz, maker of the legendary Stutz Bearcat.
We bought the building in 2004, and at that time the building was on a street that was boarded up. All the buildings were boarded up.
Joy Christensen is among Midtown Alley's pioneers. 4 years after she bought and then lovingly renovated her building into an Art Deco ice cream parlor, the Fountain on Locust opened for business.
Every month has been a bigger and bigger month, and we're busy all the time now, and we're grateful. We're grateful to our customers for discovering us and bringing other people back to show them.
All of Midtown Alley's restaurants are enjoying steady business with support of loyal patrons from the surrounding community and visitors to the area. The sandwich shop, The U, on the 3100 block of Olive, opened in early 2000. It has a strong customer base of University of St. Louis students and young professionals. Owner Adam Custra offers late-night dining and delivery, hopes to eventually be open 24/7, and sees great potential in the neighborhood.
You know, a lot of St. Louis neighborhoods that are thought of as like a hip place to go tend to be just one street. And I think what's nice about this area is it has the potential to develop a neighborhood, not just one street like a Delmar or Washington or Grand, but you could have development on Olive, Locust, and on Washington for blocks and really make it kind of a different feel that you can't find in the city.
An eclectic mix of shops, services, creative firms, and residential spaces housed in historically significant buildings are the catalyst for future rehab projects here.
We like having an open office environment, but when you really need to get something done and buckle down, we thought it would be interesting to have, to play homage on the automobile-related past and put garage doors in instead of office doors.
Jason Johnson's company has invested some $55 million in Midtown Alley and says it's the vision of his neighbors that's fueling this area's rebirth.
Between the community efforts and the development efforts, the neighborhood's only going to get bigger and bigger and better and better, and we're going to be here as long as we can in order to keep kind of leading that charge.